evil is back. The Drool King Lotor has returned with a dark energy that can destroy the galaxy. Our only hope? The Voltron Force, a team of 5 heroic pilots that control 5 awesome robot lions. When Lotor's monstrous road beasts attack, the lions come together to form Voltron, defender of the universe.
Oh! Let's Voltron! Oh! Let's Voltron! Oh! Let's Voltron!
Welcome, Voltron fans. This is Marc Morel, your host for Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast. We're here for another exciting episode review for Voltron Force, and I'm bringing on my co-host, Greg Tyler. Welcome, Greg.
Mark, it's great to see you again. To all of our listeners and viewers across the universe, welcome back to Let's Voltron. We got a Voltron Force episode review, right?
Yes, and of course, we have another person on with us right now, and it's Tara Scully. Welcome back, Tara.
Hey, guys, it's good to be back, and hey, everybody.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Are you hungry for Voltron?
Yes, I am.
So we're excited to have you back. We're excited to talk about another Voltron Force episode. And of course, this one was written by Len Yulee, who we had on the podcast previously, our 197th episode, which was almost 2 years ago.
Time flies, but yeah, that was a great interview.
Yep. And as I recall, we didn't have a whole lot of discussion deep diving into the episode itself. We talked a lot about Len and his writing craft and some of the other stuff he's done outside of Voltron. But we did talk about the relationship with Larmina and Allura, which really plays a big part in this episode, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Of course, they don't really, get into the whole niece and aunt kind of thing. But they could have, right? They could have used this one to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. And it would have been nice to see an expand.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're going to dive into this soon, but there's a scene in the teaser where Larmina says, "You've been trying to beat this idea of embracing and celebrating other cultures into my head for years." They could have dropped something right in there to indicate when Allura started taking a more active role in raising Larmina. I don't know.
Or they could have done a flashback or something, just anything to just make it look like this is a growing relationship that's familial,
Yeah.
So
And could have built upon what her, who were her parents? How is she Allura's niece, which has always been the question.
Right. So what was one of the first things that you guys remember back when you saw this originally? Can you go back that far and remember what it was like to see this episode in particular for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that stands out as an old school Voltron trivia geek is that they reference the planet Ebb.
Oh, you beat me to it. The hospital planet.
Yeah. I didn't see any hospitals on it this time. Did you?
No.
They were just beyond the skyline.
I was looking for all the medical facilities and I didn't see it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if they've been starving for a long time under Wade's rule or his domination or whatever, maybe the hospitals were giving them some kind of injections to keep them going with a lack of food or something. Who knows?
And of course, Tara, you're a big fan of Sven and Rommel, right?
Yep.
So weren't you thinking, oh my God, we're going to the planet Ebb. Does that mean we're going to see Sven?
That and that's like another Easter egg they could have dropped in there was they could have, like you said, could have dropped Sven in there, could have, I would have loved to seen Rommel in at least one of these episodes and it would, especially if you're going to the hospital planet,
Yeah. I mean, Karan was there. Karan knew Saipat, right?
Yep.
They're old buddies. There must have been a time when they knew that Sven was there.
Yeah. And even I remember Lance saying, or I think it was either Lance or Allura saying that they hadn't had contact with Ebb in years. And, you know, back when when had Sven been there, it had been years.
Right.
You know? So that there's all these little opportunities that were there that they couldn't connect. You know, they could have made so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get into this. Can you give us the details on the episode there, Greg?
So basically, in the teaser, we open to the Castle of Lions, where Allura is trying to emphasize the need for diplomacy and tact, basically pointing out that it takes more to be on the Voltron Force than just to know how to fight and fly a lion. And Larmina's pretty bored with it, and Daniel's pretty bored with it, and Vince is so bored with it that he doesn't say a word in the entire episode. But which is kind of interesting. He's still credited at the end. But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Allura talks about being respectful of other cultures, and Larmina basically says that, as we discussed a little bit ago, that Allura's been trying to get that idea in Larmina's head for years. And Larmina talks about how Eris basically is the best at absolutely everything. And Allura says, you know, you've barely even been off the planet. So, and that's kind of foreshadowing for things to come in future episodes, of course. For example, Larmina says they've got the best food, and Daniel says, well, you've still not had pizza on Earth, which, you know, to those of us who've watched the entire series, we know that she will eventually have that experience.
Yes. She becomes cultured.
But, she does.
But the question is,
and so
where did she have pizza from? That's the question. As if she was properly cultured or not.
Yes, that's a great question.
You mean like, was it New York or New Jersey? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because in Alabama, they don't have good pizza. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
You were spoiled when you lived in Jersey, huh?
Oh, my God. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, they I think in that future episode, they go to the Pizza Hole or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They can't remember whether to get the Carnivore Classic or the Classic Carnivore. But but anyway, so our Allura says, you know, here's an example. What if you're watching a football game between Eris and another planet, and like, I guess they're about to have a real game is about to start. And Allura says, well, you know, if someone who's a fan of the other side says something bad about Eris, what would you do? And Larmina basically fantasizes that she would beat them all up until they started cheering for Eris.
She's basically that one in the stands who's ready to fight everybody.
Mm-hmm. During the 7th inning stretch when they've already cut off the beer.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because there's really no resolution to this, because Hunk bursts into the control room, says, hey, the football game's about to start, and they both are chanting Eris is number one, and that basically ends the teaser. Although Daniel says, well, we Earthlings think Eris is number 2. Do we get extra credit? Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
So basically that whole first sequence there was all classroom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends abruptly, like all their classroom stuff does.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't have a whole episode set in a classroom.
No, it gets kind of boring pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah. In this episode, study hall. Home ec. They learn how to make a candle holder or something. Anyway.
And Daniel gets sent to detention.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. It's Daniel in disguise. Yeah. So, So in the control room, Karan comes into the room and says, hey, we're getting an old school distress signal, and it's addressed to Allura. And it turns out that it is Sypat, who rules the planet Ebb, as we just mentioned before we dived into the review. And so one thing that I didn't think about until just before we started recording, as I spun back through my notes, is that Sypat right here in this very first speech says something that's a bit peculiar. He says that, you know, they don't want to stand for Wade's tyranny. They want to form an alliance with Eris and the outlawed Voltron Force. Why would he say outlawed? Unless he was fed that as a line in a script.
Exactly.
Or maybe that's, or is that the writer saying, we better remind the viewers that the Voltron Force is outlawed?
No,
it seems like it was fed to the.
That's
to
what
him
it's.
as a-
Yeah, if they had looked at that a little bit closer, and I'm sure both Keith and Lance were thinking that,
Mhm.
but Alora wasn't.
No, nope.
Because what were Keith and Lance's reaction?
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yep, just like Admiral Akbar. It's a
Admiral Akbar.
Oh, well, but yeah, and basically what makes it even more suspicious is that the officers of Ebb don't want to encounter Wade's ships in their star system, so they really, really need Princess Allura to come to Ebb, and they'll give her a path to fly in safely. So it's not only, hey, out of the blue, I want to make peace with you outlawed people, but you got to come to my planet and follow this very exact path. So
Yeah,
that's pretty suspicious.
So, Keith is pretty steadfast on this trap thing, but his only recommendation is because Alora's, she's hell bent on going. His recommendation is that we'll dig up an old cargo ship and you can fly in under the radar. They're still going to know she's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if she's flying along the exact path that Saipat gives her.
Yeah.
All they got to do is wait for anything to come in along that trajectory, and they got whoever it is. So yeah.
Yeah, she's not very well protected in an old cargo ship either.
No, Allura's actually, is showing more tactics in taking Blue Lion than Keith was there. But I do like that when she leaves and decides she's going to take Larmina with her to teach her about cultures and all that stuff. Keith looks over at Lance and says, "Aren't you going to say something?" And Lance says, "Why? You're doing so well."
Yeah, really changed her mind on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love the banter between Keith and Lance in this show as a whole.
Yeah.
It's more it's more between grown-ups than in Voltron Legendary Defender for obvious reasons. These guys are at different points in their life than the paladins of Keith and Lance. So it's kind of fun to have their bantering, but they're bantering as good-natured adults who respect each other at the end, at the end of the day.
And even back to the trap conversation when, Lance is like, oh, hey, Ebb just pops up and, oh, hey, how you doing after so many years, and it's, like you said, it's nice to see that back and forth, kind of almost like back from the original.
Yeah.
Okay, so last night when I was reviewing this, rewatching this episode to prepare for tonight's recording, I started thinking about the name Saipat, the leader of Planet Ebb, and I realized that it's a transposition of the Silver word Patsy, which is it's kind of a informal term for a person who's easily taken advantage of or manipulated, and that certainly applies to this guy. So
good catch.
Winky dink, but maybe, I don't know.
Well, when you're the writer, you can write whatever you want, right?
That's right. Yeah. So Allura decides she's taking not just Larmina but also Karan to help in negotiating with the Ebbians. And so in the Blue Lion, they're all cramped in there, and Allura says, that Larmina might learn something from diplomacy in action, and Larmina says, so you mean I'm your bodyguard? Because Karan's old.
Yeah.
Now that's funny that she would say this. I understand her character would get her to say something that smug, I suppose, but I keep thinking back to the episode, oh gosh, what was it called? Karan, where she jumps on Daniel's case for being disrespectful to Karan.
Yeah.
Almost like she revered him like a grandparent or something. And here she says he's old.
Yeah.
Very
she probably feels she can get away with it because, I'm sure Karan had a hand in raising her behind the scenes of what we never saw.
That's true. Plus, this is all in the family here on the Blue.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
This is all the people of Aris that have been together for a while.
Yeah. Yep. So they fly in and they land on Ebb. And what's going on here? So
there's some strange stuff, like Karan notices that there's not many lights on.
Yeah.
Right. And Larmina jokes that maybe their culture has an early bedtime, which is funny.
Right.
So
now the actual script, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, there's a lot more sarcastic comments that Larmina makes in the actual script, that some of them they took out.
Through thanks to World Events Productions, Mark and I have access to the third draft of this script. It's very likely not the final draft because there seem to be quite a few changes between this draft and the finished episode. But yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they land, and it's described as a courtyard or a royal courtyard. And Saipat and a couple of aides meet them, and Larmina, she talks about under her breath about respecting the weirdos. And Allura says she wants to get down to business and begin talking about negotiations. And Saipat says, well, why don't we have a feast first? So here we go. I mean, I have to wonder how many microwave ovens they've had to keep that feast waiting for them to arrive exactly on time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so the first thing we get to see is all these people eating right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's some strange looking food, right?
Yeah. All sorts of weird.
I was gonna say, even Karan picks up that it's not the traditional Ebbian cuisine.
Yeah. I mean, you might know about this, Tara. Some of these things look like auto parts.
Yeah. I'm looking at this stuff right now, and yeah, I mean, it is questionable, some of the stuff that's sitting on the table. It don't look right. I mean, if I can relate to anything, maybe like a radiator hose or something. But yeah, it doesn't look edible.
But the Ebbian people are really chomping through this like they haven't eaten in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the one guy looks like he's eating a camshaft when he's sitting there going back and forth like this, and the stuff hanging off of it.
Yeah.
It looks like a damn camshaft.
Isn't that funny? Now, one thing I've noticed is, this is just me loving to look at the mechanics of the animation. The shot where Larmina pushes her plate away from her and toward the camera, there's a different quality to the food, the plate, and the stuff on it than there is to her. The line quality looks different. I almost wonder if that was rendered in 3D CGI.
The food?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it just shot, because the line quality doesn't quite jive.
Yeah, you're right. The way it slides forward, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does almost look, wow, you're right.
And you can even kind of see a perspective shift if you index through it frame by frame. I just saw that in that one shot last night while reviewing it. Thought that looks a little bit odd. And even the cup next to it looks like a perfectly shaped cup, rather than something hand drawn that would tend to be a little lopsided or something like that. It has a toon shader kind of a look to it, the way it's shaded, which is really interesting. And they could easily mix the 2D and 3D here, because Larmina's hand is mostly obscured by the food. So it's kind of interesting that they did that. But anyway, animation geek there. But so she's not happy with it. She pushes the food away, and Karan says, this is not traditional Ebbian cuisine. This is really weird to see at a state dinner.
Yeah.
And then Karan also says, oh yeah, they're eating like they've not eaten in a long time. And Larmina says, oh yeah, by the way, the guards locked the doors after we came in. It is funny that she doesn't mention this until now, as suspicious as she is of the Ebbians. But
it's almost like serving McDonald's at the White House or something.
Yeah.
Bite tongue. Anyway. But yeah, so Allura wonders, was that to keep others out or to keep us in?
Yeah.
And yeah, so she decides she wants to send Larmina back to the Blue Line to signal the rest of the Voltron Force. But that doesn't happen. Karan pretends to be ill. Allura tries to, use that as a reason so that they can go back to the Lion, which she calls the ship. In the entire script, they call it getting back to the ship, which is interesting. They used to do that in the early episodes of Defender of the Universe. They talk about the Lion craft, of the Lion ships, which is kind of interesting. But just then, Sky Marshal Wade shows up, and yes, it was a trap. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, but if you leave now, you'll miss dessert.
Yeah, and a line from the script, not in the finished episode, is Wade looking down at his pet lion, and Wade says, his dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a fight happens, and they start beating up Wade droids as if they were Jedi fighting battle droids. And let's see, they find themselves in a corridor with Wade droids at both ends. They're heavily outnumbered, and a side hatch opens in the hallway, and Sypat lets them in to help them get away, seemingly, but oh no, it's a trap, and they get captured by Wade.
Well, now we have to mention Karan's accuracy with the dinner plate. We can't skip over that.
That's true.
Where he picks up the dinner plate and, flings it across the room, and the man's got accuracy.
Yeah, he hits a Wade droid in the faceplate and the little
and knocks it over.
Yeah. I mean, is it just me, or could old man Voltron Force Karan teach Legendary Defender Karan a thing or two about fighting?
Yeah.
I think he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Karan in Legendary Defender, he never really took up arms or fisticuffs with anything, right? He was just kind of in the castle.
Yeah, he pretty much, and anytime he pretended to get tough, he'd always get the stuffing clobbered out of him.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Voltron Force Karan could teach Legendary Defender Karan about fighting, and in exchange, Legendary Defender Karan could give Voltron Force Karan some fashion tips.
Yeah, that is for
because
sure.
every time I see him in the show, I think of Mark.
Just leave out the shinies. We'll just leave out the shinies.
The slipperies.
The slipperies, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the slipperies.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff. And that's pretty much Act One.
Yeah,
Wade,
of course.
Wade has a.
Of course, it ends on the people that we care about are in peril.
Yes.
If you have to be in peril at the end of every act, except the final act.
Yes.
Yep. You got to keep the people through the commercial break.
Right.
So that's Act One.
While we sell the Voltron toys to you.
That's right. Yes. That's right. Yes, you can buy this amazing 37-year-old Panache Place Voltron Blue Lion for the low price of only, I don't know,
$150.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes. And now we're back. They're in a detention area. And, one of those fancy sci-fi jail cells with the force field bars and all that kind of thing. And Sypat walks in after Larmina complains about, how he basically double-crossed them. He walks in, oh, thank the stars, you're okay. And, Karan basically says, don't judge. He's a good guy. We need to know more information. And Sypat apologizes, and apparently Wade's got the whole star system and the planet under a blockade. They have no fuel, no supplies. They get everything they need from trading with other planets. Although it makes you wonder what they trade for. Medical services, maybe? They could have, but yeah. But anyway, they've been starving for months, which is pretty bad. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's why they couldn't wait to eat.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, even that slop looked good to them. So yeah, the alien slop. So, and let's see. So Sypat said Wade promised to lift the blockade only if he helped lure the princess here. I'm ashamed for my actions. I'd do anything for my people. And then Wade comes in again. and says, yeah, you'll do whatever it takes, even if it means to betray the princess. And,
Right.
yeah.
Because I mean, come on, let's be a little bit frank here. Ebb and Aris aren't really friends.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they haven't seen each other in years.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, Alora had a plan to go out and gain alliances with people. You know, they were still seen basically from Sky Marshal Wade as outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're trying to, you know, gain favor across the whole universe themselves. They're just seeing this as an opportunity to, you know, maybe look good, because they did it with Arya, you know, with the Lion Riders. And now they're doing it with Ebb.
Yep. So I am wondering what my, whoa, just dropped my pop filter. That's unfortunate. Hopefully I won't say too many P words here in the next so many minutes. That would be particularly problematic. But anyway, so
you got to watch your H sounds too. Don't worry about that too.
Oh, heck. Anyway, so yeah, so Wade basically says, yes, I knew that Saipat would cooperate, and I knew that the princess would be naive enough to fly here in the Blue Lion. And I do like his line where he says, to show that she and the Voltron Force aren't afraid of me. And she says, which continues to be the case, which is really fun. So yeah. And of course, Wade says, oh, I might choose not to end the blockade, which is funny because, you know, he doesn't exactly have Saipat eating out of his hand as a sure thing. And here he is right in front of Saipat saying, I might change the deal, just as a remark to show how awesome Wade thinks he is.
And that is the early sign, because you see Saipat give a little look after that. Mm-hmm. And you know, Saipat might be changing his mind about this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe giving into this scumbag was not a good idea after all.
Yeah.
So what happens here? We then open in an arena on the planet Ebb, and Allura, Larmina, and Kran are raised up into the arena from a platform from below, and there are no people in the arena seats, which is, you know, convenient because they cost money to draw.
Well, they have a much bigger audience than it appears.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what they've decided to do, or what Wade has decided to do, is to broadcast video of this fight all over the Galaxy Alliance, and so he basically plans to send a bunch of his fractal fighters and Wade droids and all that stuff attacking our heroes.
He certainly doesn't expect this to go, you know, against his favor. He thinks everything's going to go in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's why he's so sure of showing it around the whole universe.
Yeah, he not only does that, but he leaves the Blue Lion in the arena with Allura's Voltcom on the front seat.
Yeah, but
with the Lion key inside.
Okay, but he didn't leave the Voltcom in there. Who left the Voltcom in there?
Saipat.
It was Saipat.
Saipat.
Saipat was the one who was looking at the Voltcoms after, you know, we saw that they were behind the force field.
Well, that's right. How did I not make that connection? Good call.
And it was Saipat who put them in the Blue Line.
Okay, so I thought that was just Wade being super smug, but yeah,
no,
that makes sense.
No, that's what Allura thought. Allura thought, well, at least he left us the key. You know, that wasn't the case.
Well, that is a very good point. And actually, I got to go back through the script here. When Saipat, in the script implies that in segments that are not in the finished episode, it implies that he took the Voltcoms later in the episode than he actually did. Yeah. And so that's why I had the impression that he didn't take Allura's Voltcom, that it was already in the Lion.
Right. When he actually gives the Voltcom to Larmina, it's actually earlier than what the script says.
So yeah, so that would explain it. But still, I mean, although it is ambiguous enough that conceivably it could have been placed there by Wade.
True.
So
Yeah.
hopefully it was Sypat. But whatever the case, they would have had to have gotten inside of the Blue Lion, which Allura is able to get to move around a little bit just by talking to it, so that it would let anybody just waltz inside, whether it's Sypat or Wade. It's a little bit of a stretch, but
Yeah, well, when Wade starts the transmission to the universe, he says, I have, as you can see, I have captured Princess Allura of Aris, a vaunted member of the outlawed Voltron Force.
So he has to mention it again.
Yep.
Yeah, outlawed again.
Yeah.
So that's going back to the original statement. You knew those were his words that Sypat had to read out.
Yep. And I do love the response to that, where the Voltron Force is watching this from the castle control room, and Lance says, "Boy, I hate it when I'm right." And Keith just says, "No, you don't."
No, you don't.
Oh, I love it. So anyway, what's going on? Basically, this is where the fight's about to begin. Yeah, so the Blue Lion is out there. And so, yeah, it is ambiguous about who left the key there. It might have been Sypat, it might have been Wade, but Wade does say, I shall now meet Princess Allura and her famous Blue Lion on the field of battle and eradicate them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that she couldn't fly it. Or could.
So here's the thing. In any other time where Wade has captured anybody, has he said, now I'm going to kill you?
I don't recall that. No.
No. And
in he had the death trap on Tarvos, right? He had that moon base, and I'm sure he didn't think they were all going to make it. But.
Yeah, but in all the instances where he's had them, it isn't necessarily that he wants to kill them. It's that he wants to recapture them, right? And put them back where they belong, like behind bars or something like that, right? Because they're outlaws, right?
I suppose so.
And almost like a power trip, he wants to prove that he's stronger than Voltron and the Voltron Force. You know, kind of take it as a power trip, kind of like, you know, like a megalomaniac or something would do.
So when he goes after her in this arena, he's planning on killing her.
Yes,
that's
certainly, yeah,
that's way different than what we've seen before.
Yeah,
and of course, towards the end of this, we're going to hear Lance and Keith talk about that.
Right. What's going on here? So Wade's got a line that is much longer in the third draft script, but he talks about how he chose to have Larmina up in the box where he is rather than down in the arena with Karan and Allura. He says, I needed one of you beside me to deter the idea of flying away in your Blue Lion. So he knew that it was possible to fly the Lion. However, the Voltcom got there. But the scripted line is actually longer. He says, now that's why I chose you to be up here instead of Karan. I needed one of you beside me to deter the idea of flying away in your Blue Lion or shooting missiles at me. But that old man has bored me one too many times. Which I kind of like. I kind of like the line.
Yeah,
and then Larmina still,
Yeah, they took that completely out, and Larmina is the only one who gets to call him an old man in this episode.
Yeah,
that's right. I do think it's interesting where Larmina says, "Wow, hiding behind a girl. Did you learn that at Tyrant School?" What did you think of that line? The whole thing about hiding behind a girl. I mean, she's the toughest, arguably. Larmina has the best, most fighting skills of anyone on the Voltron Force at this point, pilot or cadet. I almost thought hiding behind a girl was not something I would expect to hear her say.
Yeah.
Or am I overanalyzing?
No. But one thing I was thinking of why he didn't take Karan but took Larmina was almost as he would think that Karan would be more expendable than Larmina. Does that make any sense? That Allura would not leave Larmina, but she may leave Karan.
Well, with her being younger and the next generation of Voltron Force and a blood relative, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, does Wade know about their lineage?
It doesn't seem to be a secret, but that's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't remember
And-
him ever touching upon it, but then again, it has been some time.
Yeah, I was just wondering if he knew their complete background.
Yeah, I mean, he does seem to be surprised by Daniel and Vince when they show up as cadets.
Mhm.
You know, oh, you're the guys from the GA Academy. I'm kind of amazed he even remembers them, but you know,
Right.
someone in his position with these two lowly little cadets. But Larmina, he just might not have made the connection. He might never have met her previously. So who knows?
Right.
But in any case, the battle ensues. They get into the lion, and yeah, she talks to the lion, open wide, Blue, and Blue Lion opens its mouth, which makes me wonder, you know, how did they get that Voltcom in there? Whoever did it, but whatever. Anyway, so they start fighting, and Larmina makes a comment about, she asks if Wade's machinery is still under warranty because the Blue Lion is doing pretty well against it all. The fighting continues. Karan says, oh, if we only had Larmina, we could get away. And Allura says she's basically biding her time. I'm not sure what she's biding her time for. Is she hoping the Voltron Force would show up because they've never actually radioed for them, but I guess they knew it would be on TV. So at this point, this is when Sypat gives Larmina her Voltcom,
Mm-hmm.
and she escapes and beats up a bunch of these, a bunch of the Wade droids, and then she turns toward one of these camera drones, these floating little spheres, and goes, and it gives it the Bronx cheer, which is pretty fun.
After she said Aris is number one again.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I missed that part. My apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Allura's happy. Wade is ticked off because he's unable to turn off the broadcast, because apparently Sypat has jammed whatever the signal would be to turn all that off.
Yep.
So Sypat's done some more good here, which is awesome.
Yep. Sypat's
Yeah.
back to being a good guy.
Yay. And Larmina says she's starting to like this diplomacy stuff. And just then the other 4 lions show up. So hooray for Voltron Force. Karan then notices that the planet has a weird shimmer around it, and he recognizes it immediately as an Umbron force field, which
What's
apparently is a big
Umbron?
thing. Yeah, it might be a person's name, maybe. I mean, I know we had that whole what was that called? Sub Wexler plating in the
Yes.
Castle of Lions.
Yes.
It seems to be a friend and colleague of Adam Goldberg. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe that's another name drop. I don't know. But anyway, if anything tries to slam into the force field, it's bad news. So the lions briefly get caught in it and deflected back.
Oh,
They can't
wait a
get
minute.
to the force field. Blue line.
Wait a minute. When the 4 lions get caught in the force field, isn't that the end of Act 2?
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we go to commercial thinking, oh no, there's something wrong with the lions. They're not going to be able to form Voltron or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, they can't do that. They don't have all 5 lions, Mark.
Oh no. Oh no, they don't have all 5. What are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll have to go to the 3rd act and find out. And here it is. They're no longer seemingly snagged in the Umbron force field. They're now kind of flying away from it.
But they lost
into
some
space.
energy.
They did. And they got to reboot their systems. And, you know, rebooting seems to be something that they have to do a lot in this show. Have you ever noticed that?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Like
at the end of that one episode, they needed like solar panels on Voltron to get energy back.
But I mean, well, there's that, but there's also just the need to reboot everything and how
Yeah.
long it takes to reboot. I was thinking of when they fought that Predator Robeast.
Yeah.
And remember, Voltron got slammed into the crater in the ground on Eris.
Yeah.
And the Predator Robeast is coming at them, and they got to reboot. And they need all this time. And then at the very last second, they have time to reboot. And by the way, change centers.
Yeah.
but
Now-
anyway, yeah.
Now, are they supposed to be by planet Ebb or planet Earth when they're
Planet Ebb.
fighting? Because
Oh, you're
But
asking
did
such
you
a wonderful
catch-
question.
did you catch? Because I noticed this when I was watching it. You see Africa, you see Spain, you see Europe, you see South America. Did you catch that?
Ebb looks a lot like Earth.
It does.
Oh yeah, a lot
I
like
see. I see England. I see France. I see Roe Beast underpants. That's right.
Earth. Yep.
But yes, in fact, it's jarring. The first time I noticed that,
Yeah.
it's like it's a weird juxtaposition between the
Mhm.
3D CGI lions, which are obviously animated models, and then bam, this photo map of the Earth wrapped around a CG sphere. It's a little jarring to see.
Yeah.
And there's no cloud cover. It's super clear skies.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really in your face. It's like, yep, I can see my house from here.
Yeah, because I had it playing again while I was waiting for you guys, and I just happened to see the Cape Horn of Africa. I'm like, wait, did I miss something? Because I know they were talking about Earth earlier, but they're on Ebb.
That's right.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. They've never done that in this show, or as far as I remember, any other show, any of the other Voltron shows. It's weird that they made that decision when they could have very easily mocked up something. I wonder why they chose to do that.
I don't know.
I mean, there are even Photoshop filters. A friend of mine actually wrote some custom ones to generate fantasy worlds that have the continents and oceans and look pretty realistic, but are generated using like fractals or things like that, so that they don't look they look random. But yeah, it's really weird to see that.
So the Wade has fractals that are like drill tanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has fractals towing drill tanks up into the sky, up into space.
Okay.
The fractal is above the drill tank, kind of hanging onto it and pulling them up into orbit.
Okay. So Larmina mentions, so Wade upgraded to flying tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Karan says, I think his upgrade was a little bigger. Then what do we see?
They form Wade Mectron.
They form like Voltron, right?
Yeah.
So we just saw this with Predator Robies with Lotor. And now we're seeing Wade form his own sort of Voltron.
He already did that back on Ariel.
Yeah, but
remember?
But okay, this one's just as big as Voltron, right?
Yes.
Was the other one just as big as Voltron?
It was about as big.
Okay.
I mean, it was keeping them at bay. But it didn't have that really slick Robeast look that this one does.
This one looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, they did that magical transformation like they do when the IGF Atlas becomes a mech, where you literally see parts disappear and new parts reappear and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is one of those magical changes.
They would have had a tough time making a toy out of this one, and then trying to say you can assemble and combine.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, the one on Ariel was a big clunky mess. I mean, it could easily have been made from those Wade droids, from those drill tanks, but this one not so much. Yeah. So they combine, and let's see. The Voltron Force says, we got to try to form Voltron, and Lance says, can we do that? And he says, Pidge, and then Pidge starts talking technobabble about the mega thrusters and all that good stuff. And so they form Voltron, a 4-lion Voltron. And I do like that Keith says, habitually, form feet and legs, and Hunt corrects him and says leg. And
right.
So, and what do you guys notice about what happens here with this 4-lion Voltron? What sticks out as a visual oddity with this Voltron?
There's no black lion leg hanging down for where blue would be.
Yes. As we know from the old days and in this newer show, the Black Lion's lower leg, the leg below the knee, goes into the blue and yellow lions to form, to connect. And so if the blue lion isn't there, you would expect to see the dangling lower leg of the dangling rear right leg of Black Lion.
Okay, so I was watching this closely.
Yes.
You go from one shot where you see the end of the formation sequence, and you do see the Black Lion legs sticking out there.
Yes.
But then you go to the next sequence, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Yes, and I actually stumbled across an animatic for this exact scene on Vimeo, Vimeo.com. There's an animatic out there of that combination from Voltron Force, and they show it after the formation with the lower legs still there. So my assumption is that they decided, after the animatic stage, that it would be more clear and less weird looking to have Voltron just not have anything dangling there.
Yeah.
And we know technically it's correct to see that leg there, but it does look really weird with the claws and all that stuff. I think they just did it to make it really, really obvious that it's missing a lion.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Voltron doesn't have to stand up and he's just flying in space,
yeah,
you don't need that extra leg.
Yeah. Yep. And it would be really awkward for it to try to walk with that little Black Lion leg, wouldn't it? If it was there. So they form a 4-lion Voltron. They form the blazing sword, and they literally slash at an Umbron force field, and that doesn't seem to be doing the trick because apparently the blazing sword is weaker without the 5th lion. Larmina basically says, hey, help us out here inside the force field in the blue lion. We're getting hammered. And in the script, Hunk says, hammered. Yeah. Well, in the episode, he just says, yeah. And they don't make the connection really, really obvious. I think
they let us make that connection. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think making that more explicit probably would have been better. But yes, it does make sense. We can put the 2 and 2 together there. So they form Yellow Center, a 4-lion Yellow Center. So Voltron's still missing its right leg, of course. Hunk forms the Wrecking Maces, and they start pounding the daylights out of the force field. They're weakening it, but they still can't get through. And then Allura gets a really, really cool idea for how to get out of there.
But even before Allura, I thought what Keith's idea was pretty cool. So he has Hunk put his arms out, right?
Yeah.
And he starts to spin like a top. And the Wrecking Maces just keep hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. And it's still not doing it.
That's true. It's like a 300-foot tall weed whacker.
Yeah, exactly. The Voltron weed whacker. It's the It's the next April Fool's Day joke.
There we go. I would like to see that. And I'll form the that little nylon line or whatever. Yeah. So they go with that, and Allura, she has this great idea of how they're going to get out of there. So basically, she races toward the force field with the Roe Beast in hot pursuit. She does she climbs, veers around over and behind the Roe Beast, and then says, and I'll form a leg. The lion turns into a Voltron leg and kicks the Roe Beast into the force field.
She could have just pushed him in, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, but kicking is so much fun. This is Larmina when she talks about my foot, your butt, when she's talking to Wade earlier in the episode. This is a direct follow on to that. So it's almost like Larmina kind of influenced, whether consciously or not, Allura to do this.
So we've never known the lions to just form their part of Voltron without forming Voltron all by itself. Yeah. We've never seen that happen before, right?
Oh, okay. So Tara, you might remember this. I know you've got crazy awesome trivial recollection here. In Defender of the Universe, when Voltron fought the evil clone of Voltron, and the arms detached and were on the ground and formed the sword. I think it was the episode Voltron versus Voltron.
Yeah, I'm faintly remembering that.
So the arms came off, but they didn't really form the arms, did they? It's not like the lions were on the ground and just turned into arms.
No, I think they just separated from the body.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We've never seen it where they were the lion, and then they just formed the piece that they would be a Voltron, like the arm or the leg, but never actually get to Voltron.
No, the arm, I think they just came off as the arms already. I think they stayed formed. I believe they didn't actually turn back into the lions, I think.
Yeah. I think we're right there. Yeah. So that never has happened.
You just gave me a good trivia question. I got to write that down.
All right.
And Larmina says, yeah, our foot, your butt.
There you go. So now, again, as an animation nerd and someone who has overstudied how the lions form Voltron, the editing trickery and the CG trickery they use for this show because of all the swapping centers and everything else, they do a very clever transition here. In the shot where Allura says an off form a leg, they're doing a very, very tight close-up of the blue lion. So you don't see that that is actually the CG model of Voltron's leg for that entire shot. So the leg is rigged in such a way that the foot can pivot all the way down.
Yeah.
And the body morphs as that happens in a way that no toy ever could. I mean, it deforms, the leg deforms as the moves up and down. And so what you're seeing is Voltron's leg, right, the blue lion leg flying toward the camera, and you're just showing basically from like mid calf downward toward the toe, and it's pointed, the toe's pointed. And so in a tight close-up. So when the camera moves back and it forms a foot, literally all it's doing is it's bending, the head's bending upward. It's not the lion. And the way you can tell, if you look carefully, the most obvious way to tell is that you don't see those little stubby wings on the back of the blue lion. You know, in this show, the lion has the wings and the leg doesn't. But it's really clever how they do that.
Yeah.
So they hit the Robeast hits the force field. Blue lion's able to get through, following the Robeast. It connects with Voltron, with Yellow Center Voltron, and Voltron defeats the Robeast effectively. So with the wrecking maces, basically. Yeah.
This time it was sort of a blast that went out from the wrecking maces to the Robeast, right?
Yeah, that was new.
Yeah, I don't think we had seen that before either. So you'd never seen 4 lions just forming Voltron, right? And you'd never seen just one lion form into its part without Voltron. And then you'd also never seen the wrecking maces do this power.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of new things shown here, which is fun.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish that they had, I kind of wish Pidge, instead of them just being completely in the dark about whether they could do a 4 lion thing, it would have been cool if they said something like, well, we've tried it in the simulator, blah, 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 blah. It does seem like something that Pidge or Vince would have thought of before. You know, because the Voltron's Achilles heel, I guess you could say 5 Achilles heels, is that, you know, you take out 1 lion and, you know, unless you can do this, you can't form Voltron at all. So it would have been kind of cool. You know, I mean, they didn't have to, but it would have been kind of neat.
Yeah.
But in any case, Wade winds up escaping, although the wreckage of the Robeast smashes down on the planet nearby. He gets away.
And they add a line for Allura there. She says, I think Wade's show is canceled.
Yes. Yeah, that was not in the third draft script. So
right.
So then a little later, we see Manset guiding a bunch of ships in that are carrying food supplies to Ebb, which is really cool. Manset doesn't say anything, but it's great to see him again, and we will see him again very, very soon. So now they're sitting and having a probably more typical feast.
Yeah.
With the various Ebbians, such as Saipat. And Larmina still doesn't seem too thrilled with the dish that she has, which Saipat calls Gana Dosh, something like that.
Yeah, Gana Dosh.
There you go. So Sypat is happy that the planet is free again. He thanks Allura and the Voltron Force, apologizes again for not standing up to Wade. And Allura says, hey,
Mhm.
you were there when we needed you. And Wade's not going to threaten you anymore. And then she asks Larmina if she wants to add anything. And she basically says, diplomacy, Voltron Force style, kicks butt.
Right.
And Sypat says the young lady has great potential, and Allura says, I can only hope. And then we end with a little aside between Lance and Keith.
And that's serious, really
Yes.
deadly serious.
What are your thoughts about this?
So I know we don't, we typically, when Voltron wins the day, we always have good things to say at the end,
Mhm.
Yeah. But then it kind of ends on like, oh, now we're looking at the next episode almost,
Yeah.
which is something we don't typically do.
Right.
We don't typically have a little thing that leads us into the next episode.
Right. Although I would say that the last episode, Predator Row Beast, ended on a similarly not down note, but certainly a more foreboding note. So things are amping up against Lotor and Wade, but clearly something is changing here between Keith and Lance.
But you can see how this isn't a purely serialized show,
right?
Because they would have mentioned the Predator Row Beast in this episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think.
So it was almost like this is a standalone episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's weird in the sense that they just came out of a battle that they barely won, and here Wade has crossed the line. But they are different foes, and we don't know how much time has passed in the story between the episodes. So
right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the one thing here, it's a big deal that Lance and Keith are in total agreement that, it's time to stop Wade for good. As we'll see in the next episode, what they want to do does not meet with the approval of every member of the Voltron Force. And that's going to be very interesting. But
because Voltron is typically about defense, not about attack.
Yeah. I feel like they need Yoda to give them an intervention right at this moment, Yeah.
or Master Miyagi.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would like to see Voltron do the whole wax on, wax off thing. That would be kind of cool.
That would be interesting.
But anyway, so that was Hungry for Voltron. Thoughts?
I'm hungry for more.
We're always hungry for more. Can't get enough. It's like we need like an all-eat buffet, and we'll roll out weighing 800 pounds. I said, then again, we probably never leave.
I was just saying, I wouldn't mind eating some 3D CGI food because the calories would be a lot lower.
Oh God, yeah.
But did you notice we had an episode all about food almost, and Huck wasn't really even involved in it?
No.
I'm glad, to be frank with you, because I love Legendary Defender, but I do think that they were a little too one note with Hunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't follow the stereotype of food and Hunk in this episode, which is good.
That's right. Yep. They'll wait till the pizza episode for that. So and Daniel and Vince and Larmina are just as gung-ho about the pizza as he is. So there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. So fun stuff. I do like the four lion Voltron. That's pretty cool. I remember, did you guys ever do that yourselves as kids with Voltron toys?
Only if one of them was broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it all the time because I didn't have all 5 lions for the longest time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So Tara's run off. But so the first lions.
Look how small she is back there.
I know, it's like
she's so small,
like a shrink ray or something. I think she's bringing back a toy.
She's got a lion with her.
Wow.
Yes.
Look, here comes the lion. You can see the lion eyes.
I have the I have to try and put it back together here, but right now he's a 3-legged. But Yeah,
Right.
here's your four-legged Voltron.
So for the
courtesy
listeners,
of- yeah. As
there
you
we
can
go.
see,
Hey,
there you go.
look
So-
at that.
I mean,
all
we'll just
right.
leave off the broken blue line, but there's your four
Yeah.
four-line Voltron.
That
I
looks
love it.
just like the episode.
Wow.
Yep.
So for our listeners, Tara took her Toynami Voltron and assembled it minus the blue lion. So that was really cool.
Yes, that needs to be fixed. That Eric was so kind to send me some Warbler, I think, to try and fix it. I just haven't gotten a chance to go and do that because the leg is stuck inside Blue Lion. I've been working on trying to get that out.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have 2 broken 30th anniversary ones. Thank you to my little lions I have running around here.
I told
But,
you.
oh yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
So
But,
on that note, I bought a blue lion, one of the Trend Masters really, really big lions, the 20-inch Voltron that they made.
Oh, wow.
I bought a blue lion that actually had the lower jaw intact. When you get them loose, the lower jaw is almost always broken off and missing. This one was fully intact, and I got it for a steal. But when I got it home, and looked at it, I heard a rattling sound inside. So I opened up the little door in the back of the lion. Someone had stuffed a rubber bouncy ball inside the blue lion.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah. So
Why?
I don't know. Whoever owned it before just thought, ooh. And my wife was gracious enough to help me get that thing out of there. But yeah. So I had a blue lion with something stuck in it too. Anyway.
Okay.
Do you have any blue lion stories, Mark?
Not blue lion. I have, I have an Allura from Trem Masters from the Voltron the Third Dimension that I had signed by BJ Ward.
Cool.
But I've never had any problems with any of my blue lions
That's good.
at all.
Well, I'm jealous.
And I'm sorry that I did not get, figures of the cadets. So I don't have a Larmina, a Vince, or a Daniel. Yeah.
I'm sorry that whole line didn't come out. That was those prototypes we saw at Volcon a couple years back were just amazing.
Yeah.
So I hope, and I imagine no one from the current licensees is listening now, but I sure wish that Bondi or Blitzway or 3-0 or Super 7 or just about anybody would make a Voltron Force Voltron. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And
Take my money.
Mark is showing off his awesome cosplay Voltcom that Eric had given him.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You got it in backward, right?
Yeah. There we go.
Mine is back there on a shelf behind me, but love it.
You got a yellow one, Greg?
Yes, I did.
That's cool.
Always been a Yellow Lion fan. So yeah,
That's awesome.
when we talked about the 4-lion Voltron and all that, I had a 3-lion Voltron for the longest time because I had the Matchbox green and yellow set and then got the black lion. And it was a couple of months before I got red and blue. And so I very frequently had a left arm, left leg only Voltron. And I would just fly it around upright because there wasn't much more I could do with it. But it was fun.
Black Line was actually the last one I got of that whole group. Oh my God. Yeah, because I actually got blue first, then green, then yellow. A buddy of mine buys up, or he used to buy up old comic book stores.
Yeah.
And so whatever was left over, they would get. Well, after Hurricane Sandy hit, you know how the shore got hit real hard. He actually was cleaning out one of the comic book stores, I think in Point Pleasant or Keensburg. And he actually found a red lion up on the top shelf, water this far below it, black line right below it, totally trashed.
Wow.
And he gave me the red lion, and then black line I had to get off Amazon for, I'm not going to say how much, but yes, So I was running 4 lines too for a while.
Was this the Playmates Lions or?
The Matchbox.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
wow.
the Maddie lines.
Oh, Maddie Collector.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
Maddie Collector. That's right, the Maddie.
Yeah. Good stuff. Wow. That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any stories nearly that dramatic with Voltron collectibles anyway. So yeah, well, that's cool. So Hungry for Voltron, yes, that was cool. It helped to whet the appetite, and then our next episode will be is it Clash of the Lions? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. And then after that is Inside the Music.
Yes, with we'll finally meet Stereolactic, which Larmina mentioned back in what was it, the Hunkyard? Yes.
And we're only 2 episodes away from forming Green Center.
Oh yeah, that's fun stuff. So yes,
That
toy
was a fun
makers.
episode.
I want toy makers to make this so that I won't have to spend the next several years mocking up my own. I've got designs for it, but life has been very busy, as I'm sure you all know.
Yeah.
Anyway, life gets in the way of hobbies sometimes. Okay, all the time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So you're going to
Yeah.
be doing the trivia contest at VoltCon this year, Tara?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. I believe Danny's helping me too.
Nice.
I have to get in contact with her because that girl came up with some questions. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Really? You
She came up
two,
with some good ones.
yeah, you two did a great job last year. So many stumper
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have to amp it up this year. I'm gonna have to get in touch with her soon because, I mean, heck, it's already March, and I mean, October doesn't sound that far away, but it creeps up on us.
It
Oh, yeah.
does.
Yes, we
So-
got. I'm still not exactly sure what panels we'll be preparing yet. I know we had some ideas floating
Yeah.
around.
If Kevin's listening, we don't want to be stuck in the atrium this year. We want our own time slot.
There you go. Main room.
So this way, yeah, main room, and hopefully not taking over, because I know we were always up against Marika and
Eric.
when they did their panel. So I mean, the first year we did it had a good turnout, and then last year was a little skinny, but hey, that's okay. So hopefully we can, share the joy of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So what do you guys
Yep.
think about this upcoming one thing we haven't really talked about on the podcast is this in addition to this 16 or 18-inch tall Blitzwave Voltron that's been announced and a lot of people pre-ordered. There's
And some have already received it.
Yeah, there's a company called 30 that is making one as well, like right on the heels of Blitzway. I mean, people are just
Right.
now getting their Blitzway items, and 30's got pre-orders on a Voltron that looks like it's about the size of the Bandai Soul of Chogokin version, but like the Blitzway version, it's got all the little flip out panels that cover up the legs of red and green lions and the rear legs of blue and yellow. So that's quite something to have 2 very expensive premium products coming out so soon.
Yeah, the 30 you can actually pre-order on Voltron store right now,
Mhm.
and you only have to put down a $25 deposit in order to
Yeah.
reserve it. But
Mhm.
then when it ships, then you have to pay the remainder.
Yeah, I imagine it wouldn't just be $25 for the whole thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to be 300 total.
That's not bad. I may have to pull the trigger on that one because I didn't go with the blitz way, but I may have to pull the trigger on that one.
Yeah, so this is comparable in price to the actual Soul of Chogokin, which is interesting. It's a little bit lower than what the latest reissue of the Soul of Chogokin was. So yeah.
And this one has more points of articulation too.
Oh, it does.
Does
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
It looks really, the aesthetics, it feels almost like they took the Bondi vibe and added the panels of the Blitzway version. It's a really interesting
'Cause
kind of
what-
a hybrid.
When is it supposed to come out? Like December or September, or was it September?
I haven't heard. I really haven't
Okay.
heard.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but they look cool.
Yeah. Definitely look cool. I'm all up for
Yeah.
any Voltrons that look cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh yes. Yeah, I'm still getting over the of having a Soul of Chogokin Die Rugger. I mean, that to me,
There you go.
oh gosh, I love that thing. It's so awesome. But anyway, so I guess we got anything else we want to chat about tonight, or are we good to go?
No, I think that's about it. We're still looking forward to obviously VoltCon in October. And maybe, for those people that pre-order the 3.0 Voltron, they're looking forward to something around that time, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, who knows what's next after that.
Yeah.
But we're definitely looking forward to it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to order me one of those tomorrow. Payday tomorrow, so I may have to get one because I, still kick myself in the butt for missing out on that statuette. And I usually hold off ordering the real expensive ones, but I kick myself for not getting that statuette.
Well,
Yeah.
Mark, do you still keep yours in the
I still keep it
room
in the same
downstairs?
spot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was at your house.
Yeah.
Gosh, what's it been? Almost 5 years now?
Yeah. It's still in the same
Wow.
spot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah. It'd make a good backdrop for your podcast setup there, but that banner is awfully nice too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well,
so we want to thank you for joining us again, Tara.
Oh, it was great as always.
So
Yes.
we'll be seeing Tara in October at Voltron.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see the rest of you next time on
Let's Voltron.
Oh my